Hey everybody, my name is Scott. Today I'm going to do a review and unboxing on the DeWalt 10-inch wet saw for doing tile work. The reason why I chose this saw was simple. When I was doing my research and reading all the reviews, I was looking at just going on the cheap. And I looked at the one at Harbor Freight. It was anywhere between $300 and $400, but then I had to buy a stand to put it on, which was another $50 to $75. I had to buy a blade that it didn't come with, which was another, I don't know, $10, $15, $20. It was just, every product I looked at was nickel and diming me. So when I started looking at the ones at Harbor Freight for $400 or $500, coincidentally, somebody was returning one to Harbor Freight. So I immediately walked over to that guy and asked him what the problems were, and he simply said it was under horsepower for doing tile work. It was good for doing little jobs like a small bathroom or doing a small kitchen, but if you're doing a 300, 400, 500 square foot room, it was just under power. So that immediately, forget that. $300, $400, I can spend more than that. I wanted a quality product. There's a place in Phoenix, Arizona, I assume it's throughout the United States, similar to Home Depot. It's called Floor & Decor. They had the DeWalt saw, and it came with, it was a complete kit. I got the DeWalt saw. It came with a blade. It came with the stand. They showed me how to operate it. They showed me how to put it together. So the price was almost double the price from what would have been Harbor Freight, because the Harbor Freight one I think I would have been into for $400 or $500, where this one out the door cost me $945 with tax, full warranties and everything. Coincidentally, there was another company, I think it's called Goldbert or Goldblatt or something like that, and there was another gentleman returning one of those the same day I went to look at this at Floor & Decor. So immediately I walked up to him. He claimed the same problem. After doing a little bit more research, and when I was looking at it, all the contractors that were at Floor & Decor said the DeWalt one is the way to go. So I'm going to unbox this sucker and show you what I bought and see what you guys think. Well, first things first, let's get the stand out of the box. Well, I already like that. Nothing to put together. Pull it out, stick it on the ground. Thumbs up, DeWalt. I definitely didn't want to have to put something together. Okay, now that we have the motor over there, we've pretty much got everything unboxed. We've looked at all the parts. I've opened the instructions. Now I've got a pretty good idea of how this whole thing goes together. Okay, first things first. After you set up your stand and you put your first plastic tray in the stand, there's a little groove right here that goes on this tube. Now it doesn't matter which way you put the stand, but it does matter that this tray sits right in the middle of here, and I didn't have that sitting straight. Okay, when you get ready to set the saw in place on your tray, once you have it on your stand, make sure that the leg is on this right here. You got one right here, and you got another one right here. If you do not set your legs in there, they'll set here, they'll set on the inside, and it won't be level. So that's just a pro tip. The next thing that I would tell you is make sure that all four of your legs are level on the ground. Otherwise, you'll starve your pump for water, and then it won't work right. First things first, put your drain in. Nothing worse than putting it all together and having all the water go out. Make sure you just screw this down, that way it'll hold that in place. Okay? Second thing you're going to do, I'm calling this a gantry, but this will go in place. Now, it says DeWalt right here in this corner. doesn't say DeWalt in any other corners. So I'm thinking that when I put it together that everything goes this way. Plus I know that up here is where the one of the catch trays goes, and I know that the other catch tray is over here, and I know that your pump will go right here. So make sure you have the DeWalt here. It says DeWalt right on it in the lower left corner as you're putting it together. Okay, now the first thing you're going to do is there's 4 bolts here. I put all 4 of them right here just to make it simple. It comes with an Allen wrench. This is where your motor is going to attach. So that would be your next step, would be to attach your motor. Once you get the motor in place, it pretty well balances itself. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it falling over. Take this away from my tripod, and you're going to come down here, and you're going to stick your bolts down here, and you're just going to screw them in place. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get these screwed in place, and then I'll continue the video. Okay, now this is one of those projects I don't suggest having gorilla hands on. Just get all 4 bolts put in place, thread them down a little bit, because the motor will sit on its own. The motor's not going to fall over on you as long as you're on a flat level surface. But get them threaded in so you don't cross thread anything, and then go in and tighten everything. Okay, we'll move on to the next part now. Okay, now that we have all that hooked up, this is what they call the gain tree. This is what one side of your trolley is going to ride on over here. The other side's over here. You got a little lip right there. You got to make sure you get the wheels underneath that and the V on top of that. And then there's a hole right here where sometimes the trolley will get stopped. There's also another hole that's for use and transport and stuff like that. So I'll show you how that works. Okay, basically I set it on the ground in front of me. This is how it works. You have all your numbers and all your measurements with 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, then centimeters. You got all your grooves and stuff will be closest to you. And then underneath, this is where the one side will ride, and then the other bearing rides over here. Now this is the clip that I spoke of. You're going to have to turn that so that it can be pulled out, so that that little clip doesn't get caught. See, right there. You don't want that to get caught. So you'll pull that out and then slide it on. Okay? Okay, so if you look at it from underneath, that wheel sits right there. You've got that little clip that has to go underneath, and then over here the V-rod sits out right there. See how the clip right there? Make sure that clip is sitting right on it. Okay? Once it gets past, there's a little clip right here. It's just got to go up and over it, and then it'll set down. Then see how the whole thing's rolling? Got it all the way across. Okay. If you come over here, you can see how this clip works. There's a hole right there. You can see the hole. That's what this is for. So that that can go right there, and then you can set it. It doesn't move back and forth. So that's how you'll set that in place. Pretty simple. Okay, now this particular piece is part of the tray assembly. It's got 2 pieces right here that will slide. These 2 right here will slide into this hole and this hole, and then your retaining bolt goes here. Now DeWalt did something excuse me, really cool. On the back side you can see your 2 pieces right here, but here on the bolt they put a retaining clip right here, which means you don't have to go looking for this. If you decide that you want to take this piece off for like transit from job to job, I think this is excellent planning on their part. Thumbs up DeWalt for doing that. Okay, next I'm going to install the blade that was included in the package. Now it's pretty simple. It's got arrows on it which tells you which way it goes, and I want the water going that way, of course. I don't want it coming back at me, so we would take this like this and it would go on just like that. So I'll show you how we do that. But anyways, this was the 10-inch DeWalt blade that was included in the package. Okay, to put the blade on, you're going to need a couple tools. This is one more thumbs up to DeWalt. On the back of the motor, Okay, your trolley's over there, your motor's here, you're putting your bolts on right here. On the back side of this arm is your wrench that you're going to need, and is the Allen wrench that you're going to need. Excellent addition. See, this is the reason why I would rather pick a quality piece of equipment, because they include everything and then they give you a place to store it when you're not using it. So I really like that. Okay, this is pretty simple. You're going to undo this screw right here. It's an Allen screw. You can take your Allen wrench, stick it in there, and you just got to open it up just a little bit. Okay? It's just got to pass the keeper. Take that, and you got to put, well, maybe I will have to take it out. I don't think you do, but I'm going to take it out. If I remember right, reading it said you do not have to take it out, but I'm only doing this with one hand. So over here is another keeper. You'll push that one up, you'll pull that one to the side, and then there he goes. Just pull that as far forward as you can. Now this particular rubber piece right here is controlled by this. You're going to push that so it gets out of the way. You take the nut off. Okay, and you pull your lock ring off. Okay, you only have one lock ring, and it's a slotted lock ring. You see, it's not exactly round. Okay, you're going to take your blade, slide your blade in there, just like that. Now I'm doing this with one hand, everybody, so I'm going to have to kind of be a little bit. Okay, you got to get that rubber thing right there back. Slide that in there, push it in place like that. Pull your rubber thing back over it. Put your lock ring on it. Then put your nut. This is pretty simple. Okay. This next step I can't do with both hands, but I'm going to show you. On the other side over here, there's a button right there. You've got to rotate this to where this will catch on a clip. When it catches on that clip, then you're going to use your wrench on this nut, and you're going to go ahead and tighten it. Kind of follow me? So, anyways, I just don't have a third hand to do this. Okay, I went and got my tripod because I want to make sure you guys see what I'm doing. Take your wrench, put your wrench here. With your other hand, your left hand, you're going to go push down on that black button I was taught. Right there, it caught. See, right now it's not turning. There again, no gorilla hands, everybody. Just get it snug. Okay, let it go. Now it spins. And you're going to take your retainer, push that down, and get it into place. It's got to get around that. Okay. Take your Allen bolt, screw that into place. Take your Allen head. Oh. Make sure it's all tightened down. Okay, there again, no gorilla hands. Then this comes down, stuff. Then on the other side, let me grab this. Over here, make sure you pull this silver retainer off. This is for your water, and make sure that goes back down in place. Take your Allen head and then just snug that. You don't have to make it tight, just make it so it's snug. And once again, this is the button that you're pushing to stop the wheel from turning. And then we'll take this and we'll push that up, okay? Okay, next we'll go ahead and assemble the pump. You got a fitting right here that comes in the kit. Crash. You got this fitting right here that comes in the kit. Also comes with the strainer. The strainer goes on here. It threads on right here, and that's so that you can easily remove it and clean it and stuff. So that'll go right here like this. And you just snug it up. Now here, I don't know if I need the OD fast tape for this or not. I'm probably going to go ahead and use it just because I'm that type of person that I don't like things to leak and I like things to come off. And if you get any kind of crappy water or any kind of corroded water, I want to be able to get this piece off again. So I'll go ahead and put a little Teflon tape on it. And That way, if I have any problems, I'll be able to get it off, and it'll seal that much better. And I really like this gray tape. They make a white tape, and they make gray tape. I think this gray tape works the best. So anyways, we'll go ahead and do that. And just screw that on there just like that. You got an off and on switch. If you make a T, it's off. If you go like this, it's on. You can probably control the flow that way. Then you'll hook up your hose right here. Okay, once you have your fitting attached to your pump, then you're going to take the hose that's provided with the unit itself, and you'll just push the hose over the brass piece. You take your electrical cord that comes from your pump, and right off the side of your arm to the motor is where you'll plug it in. Now this is pretty cool. It's got a Gfci cord built right into it, so there's no need to go get anything extra than that. So now I'll show you some of the features to this particular tile saw. One of the cool things about DeWalt is they think of everything. With this handy little device that's included in your kit, you can take it and you can put it here. You can slide it back and forth. So let's say you're making a bunch of cuts that, here's your center cut, because that's where the blade is, and you got to be 3 inches and you got to make 10 of them. You've got a retaining lock right here, and you can lock it right where you want it, and you can make several cuts. Also, you can put this, so if you want to make a 45-degree cut, you're able to do that. This is a cool feature of this particular tile saw. I can't speak for other tile saws, whether they have it or not, but I definitely like that about the DeWalt. Okay, we have everything assembled on the saw up until now. What's next are the splash guards. There's one on the side that moves with the trolley, and then there's one in the front. Now the one on the side, you will have to remove this to get it in there. Stuff. So I already loosened this up, and then you'll take this and it goes right here. So what it does is it goes on top of there and it goes underneath there, and it does the same thing in the front. So what you're going to do, you're going to put it on top in the front and the back, and then you get it in there, and then once it's in there, you pop it into place with your hand. And what I'm doing is I'm actually hitting it right here so that that little catch gets in there, just like that. Okay, then what you're going to do is take this, you're going to slide these back in here, and then you're going to have to get your hand underneath here, upside down, and that's why that retaining is the way it is. And then you just push it and you can get it. It's not hard. I'm not having any problem, and my hands are not little. So anyways, that's how you do that. Now the one in the front, there again, it's going to go right on top of this, and the clip's going to go underneath there. And then on the same thing on this side, it's going to ride on top of here, and the clip will go right there. So when you're doing that one, you'll take it, you'll take your tray, and you can see how your tray works on the side, and then it just slides into place right there, and it slides, same thing, it's sliding right in right there, and then it only goes in far enough to where the water will come down here and then drip into your catch tray. Pretty simple on the side one and on the back one. We are now completely assembled and stuff. We have put together the motor, we put together the trolley, we put together our catch system all the way around, we've put together our pump assembly, we've plugged it in. That's all we're waiting to do, is to fill it up with water. But before that, let me show you how everything works. Over here, pretty simple, off and on, red, easy to find. Right here, you can take this and you can make your blade change different angles. You can go from 0 to 22.5 to 45 degrees, and it's got an arrow right there. How you do that is on the back with this. What I think DeWalt could have done to make this really cool is I think they could have put the marks back here also to make it a little simpler for us. But you can just by unscrewing this, okay, and what it does is it allows it to tip. Okay, as it allows it to tip, you know, you put it, you know, at 22.5, 45 degree, and then you tighten it down. Really cool feature. Very, very cool feature. I just wish they would have put it on the backside also. Okay. Up here is your height, is your adjustment to where when you go down, you can adjust exactly where you want it to go each time. Okay, you don't need something to go way down and stuff like that. So that's your height adjustment. And that's basically what it says. Depth, stop, adjustment. Wow, why didn't they put something over here too? Interesting. So A lot of cool features. Now the next feature you have is, let's say you want this to stay at that height right there. This is your lock, and basically you'll turn this, and then that will lock it in place so that when you're going through your gantry, you can decide, you know, your exact depth. Okay, see, you can put it at whatever depth you want so that you can make your cuts properly. So the other cool feature that they have is this little locking thing, and it says right over here, you know, you pull out, it unlocks, you push in, and it locks. So, and it's locking on this hole right here, and then there's another hole here, and there's another hole there. So, very cool. And the other thing I think is cool is your trolley can only go back so far. So I like that also. So with this, you can go like this, and you put it where you want it. So, one more cool thing I like, even if you forget to do your lock, your trolley can only come back so far, and then it stops. So I think that's kind of a cool thing also. Okay, I wanted to show you a couple things with the height adjustment. You can adjust the height of this blade up and down, but if you go too deep, you're going to hit right here, and you could damage your blade as well as damage the trolley. And it's the same thing in the back. You can only go so deep. Now there's a rubber thing right there, and the same thing down there and stuff. I just thought I'd make that aware to you guys that if you go too deep, you're going to end up hitting the aluminum casting on the trolley, and it could damage the trolley. So I figured I'd bring that to everybody's attention. Yesterday I put this together and unboxed it and showed you how everything goes together. Today I'm going to show you, after using it all day yesterday on my project, on all the little tips and tricks that I learned along the way. There's a couple things that you need to know about after putting it together that I didn't even realize until after I started using it that'll make it a much better product. So stay tuned and I'll finish up this video and show you all the things I learned after putting it together and using it for about 6 to 8 hours. One thing that I learned after setting it up, you need to have it on a flat level surface. I'm working on the gravel on the dirt behind my cabin, so I had to actually level it out to make it a level surface so that when I fill the pan with water, the water stays level all the way across the pan and doesn't basically keep the pump from getting water on the one side where it sits. When you fill the pan with water, it takes exactly 5 gallons, maybe 5 gallons and a little bit more. But if you're under 5 gallons, you will not have enough water for the pump and you will starve the pump. And the pump will not suck the water up the tube and over to where you're trying to cut your tile. So that's the next thing that I learned, that it does take exactly 5 gallons to run the water pump to make it give you sufficient water. It comes with this adjustment right here that'll tell you, you know, in inches how far it is away from the blade. You have an adjusting screw. You have to adjust these, and you have to adjust this one. Otherwise, if you're trying to make a 9-inch tile and you do make your cut right here, this piece of tile will not be 9 inches if you have not adjusted this correctly to your blade. And how you go about doing that is you would stick this here, you know, without the tile, of course. So you come over here, you measure from here, and you come over to, you know, 7 inches and make sure it's exact on. Otherwise, it will not work. Not a bad job. I want to say overall, I was 100% pleased with the cuts. The cuts that were made were absolutely perfect. There was no chips. I really like that. But look how little this one was. I mean, it might look big in the video, but if you get back and start looking how big that piece was that I had to cut off to make my project perfect, I was amazed at how well this thing cut. I am super thrilled with the price of what I paid for the product that I got for the quality of job that I'm getting. So just wanted to share that. Figured I'd show you guys what I was doing. This is my first ever tile job. What I'm building is a shower where there has never been a shower before. So I actually had to build a pan underneath here and lay the hardy board and then frame out the walls and build a niche for shampoo and stuff and put in all the plumbing over here. Right there's my valve, and up there will be where the water will come out. Anyways, this is what I'm doing so far. This took 2 days to tile so far. This was the first day, this was the second day, and I still have this to do, plus this down here. We already did the floor, which we did in penny tile. So anyways, I figured I'd give you guys a look to show you what kind of a job I'm doing.